Okay, welcome to day 2 of elimination. Now yesterday we looked at some pretty basic examples where they were already set up as opposites, so all we had to do was add the equations together to cancel out one of the variables. Now, today we're going to look at what happens if we have to multiply one or both equations to make opposites happen. So if you look at this first example here, you can see that we don't have any pairs of opposites. Here we have 4 and 8, and here we have 2 and 10. Now you can choose x or y to eliminate first. It's really up to you, but I usually just stick with x if it's there because it's just the first letter and it's easier to think about, but you can pick. Now what I'm going to do is multiply this first equation here by -2. Okay, so that gives me -8x positive 4y equals -24. And if you look, if we rewrite that other equation beneath it, 8x minus 10y equals 24. If you look now, our x column, we have opposites. So just like our previous video, if we add those two equations together now, those will cancel out. We'll have -6y equals 0. And you can solve that really easily. Y equals 0. So we still need to find x. Let's use one of those first equations. Doesn't really matter which one. Just use that first one. 4x minus 2 times 0 equals 12. Well, 2 times 0 is 0, so 4x equals 12. Divide by 4, x equals 3. So very similar to what we did in our previous video, except that now we have to get our coefficients here to be opposites. But all that takes is multiplying. So there's example 1. Let's go to the next example here, example B. You've got 4x minus 8y equals 8 and -3x minus 7y equals negative. I was able to just multiply one equation by one number. All right, -2. So that was no problem. But if you look at our second example here, we can't do that because I can't make 4 into 3 or 3 into 4 or so on. So we'll have to multiply both equations. And all we have to do is multiply each by the other number. So we're going to multiply this one by 3 and this one by 4. Now if they were both positive, we'd want to multiply by -3 or -4, but since they're positive and negative at this point, we'll get opposites at the end. So 12x minus 24y equals 24, and -12x minus 28y equals, okay, 4 times 19, 76, I think. Yep. Now if you look, we have our x column here. These will add together and cancel out because they are opposites. So that's what we want to happen. So you might have to think about what numbers you need to multiply one or both equations by to get opposites here so you can cancel them out. So let's add these equations together now. The x's cancel out. We get -52y equals -52. So now just divide by -52 and y equals 1. Great. We just have to find x. So let's just use the first one. Doesn't matter. 4x minus 8 times 1 equals 8. Well, 8 times 1, that's just 8. So let's add 8 to both sides. So 4x equals 16, and divide by 4, x equals 4. So our answer, our solution here is the point 4, 1. Okay, so just to kind of quickly recap, In our previous video, they were already set up as opposites, either x or y. Today, you will have to multiply one, as in this first example, one or both, as in the second example, equations by some number to make them into opposites. Okay, so I think you've got four problems left here to do. Make sure all your work is done by Friday. And if you have questions, as always, just send me an email.